Hello. What is up, everybody? How are you all today? I am currently still eating. Hello, Taco. No. No communism allowed. No communism allowed. Communism is evil. As you can maybe hear, we're gonna be listening to some Hades 2 music while we do this, because that game is awesome, and Supergiant has literally never once put out a game without a banger soundtrack. Sorry, I underestimated how long it was going to take me to eat that ice cream bar. Hoping to have that done before I went live. Evil Party's transforming something that is already capitalist and communist because, well, this state literally has to steal from everyone. No, it's going to end up being evil regardless because it goes against human nature. Communism can literally only work if you change human nature to force it to be able to work. But anyway, so what we are doing today, over the last week or so, I have talked with Grok quite a bit. I actually talk with Grok often. You know, the music was a little bit loud in my ears. I like using Grok as a soundboard, and every once in a while I will just throw random ass scenarios at it and just to see what it says. Does he eat? Does he live? Who he? Nobody eats, nobody lives, everyone dies. Hello, Jello. How are you? And because of what's going on in the US right now, which currently the government is still shut down, the federal government, I should say, specifically, is still shut down to this day, and SNAP benefits are still on hold to this day, meaning that a whole lot of people that usually rely on SNAP benefits to get their food for the month, have not. The election's over, so there's nothing to hold hostage anymore. True. Eating is a capitalist agenda. Did you know that violence is a social construct? If we just denied violence exists, it would cease. Did you know that violence is a social construct, and that's why we should abolish prisons? Something really stupid that was said by the now mayor of fucking New York City. Both are social constructs. True. Yeah, exactly. That's how that works. So what I did over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I don't even remember. It's really funny how try again. The Grok will sometimes, especially for whatever reason, it happened a lot in this conversation. By the way, this is not all of the prompts and returns. This is not all of the prompts and returns. Like, this only goes down to here on this particular scroll wheel. There was a lot there was a lot that we talked about. I'm talking to an AI. There's no we. To basically come up with a complete revamp of the SNAP program. Now, the first thing, the big thing, no fucking money is involved. No cash changes hands in this new program. You don't just get a card that you could go and buy whatever the fuck kind of food you want, regardless of whether or not it's actually, you know, cost effective. What you get is a base box that scales. So, as far as I'm aware, these eligibility numbers, these are the same as what it is right now. This is the exact same. This has not changed. Hello again. Bye again. So all of these numbers, these are the same exact numbers that you are required to be under to get on SNAP now. So this is just the same. Problem with the Good Space Support Program is the U.S. government has long since abandoned the idea of actually dealing in commodities. Instead, just reduces everything to a dollar value. Yes, pretty much. But that's garbage, and that needs to stop. And I think that this is one of the easiest changes to do. So, first off, the base box. So, how this revamp works, instead of getting a card, everybody gets it's basically like, you know, you've seen the food delivery systems that everybody fucking gets sponsored by on YouTube, like HelloFresh, shit like that. They get a box like that once a month, maybe twice a month. They get a box like that. Now, the base, and this is what everybody gets. Everybody gets this: rice, beans, oil. Very simple. Not enough to survive on. Not enough to survive on. But this is the base. This is what everybody gets. This is what everybody gets. Because with these things, as a base, you could cook damn near anything. But you need add-ons, right? Can't survive on just rice and beans. So, every household that gets on this new program, there's a point system. You start with 10 points every month. Every month you get 10 points. But you can earn more by working. So that's one of the big changes. Because right now, there's no incentive to go back to work. Zero incentive to go back to work. Rather than providing groceries and meals to people, they say, what is the dollar value of that? And then write a check. Yes. Immensely exploitable. Yes. Yes, 100%. So, for every 20 hours that an adult working age person works, for every 20 hours, they get 1 extra point. This is per month. So if you're working full time, you know, that's 40 hours per week. That's 8 extra points a month. You're basically doubling what you start with. So 10 points free, plus any extra that you work. If you got a teenager, or you have like an older person, you know, under 18, legal working under 18. I'm not talking about 9-year-olds here. I'm talking, I believe you can legally get a job at 14 if you have your parents' permission. 320 hours would be 32 extra points, according to this. Wait, what? How are you getting 320? 40 hours times 4 weeks would be 160. But for an adult, you only get 1 point per 20 hours. So it's not per 10 hours, it's per 20 hours. Unless you're under 18 or over 65. For under 18s and over 65s, you get 1 point per 10 hours of work. So, this does incentivize working for teens and for the elderly, but it doesn't incentivize it as much. Like they don't need to work as much to get the same benefit. This is so that you don't over incentivize kids or the elderly to go into jobs, so that the kids can still get an education. The elderly are not being overworked and worked to death, stuff like that. Being infected by my profession, which continues to say they're bad at math, help them dying. Been there, done that, trust me. And then there's a max. So if you have like 18 people in your household, you're not going to be able to get infinite points, right? So this here is to prevent overcrowding, basically, where you have like households with like 20 people in them, right? So like if you have, let's see, what would it take to get to 30 points? Was that 30 points? Worst case scenario, when everyone's 18 to 64, 30 points would take... Brain, please. Times 260, 600 hours of work. Why is your coastal point set at lower? Okay, so this is not necessarily true. So, okay, the reason that this is not, by the way, none of these numbers, none of these points numbers are set in stone. This is all just like spitballed. So the thing is, the things cost different depending on where you're at. You're able to get seafood a hell of a lot cheaper on the coast than you can in the Midwest. Because, surprisingly enough, most fishing happens in the ocean. So if you're close to the ocean, you can get fish cheaper, fresh fish cheaper than you can if you're in the middle of a landlocked country that's as large as the US. So this would, and like chicken is also slightly more expensive on the coast than it is in the Midwest. So these points would be dynamic. They would be based on region, except there's always exceptions. There's always exceptions. So what I would say is you have somebody in basically every state would have like a team that would look at supply, demand, availability. Like, oh no, our president decided to holocaust the entire chicken population because some of them got sick. Eggs and chicken is going to be higher in points this month than it has been recently. Sorry, our president has dementia. You know, like shit like that. So, referencing that actually happened with the last year. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Also, these weights would also be adjustable. Like, all of this stuff is just like me throwing this together relatively without that much thought into the actual logistics. Well, not the actual logistics, but just like how many points would 10 pounds of ground beef be worth in this hypothetical scenario where we implemented the system, right? Like, all this stuff is adjustable. It's designed to be adjustable on a monthly basis. Second, holidays. Every single person gets a choice on the holidays. CCP agrees. Yeah! Gamify food. Gamify the welfare system. That's how you get Gen Z and the Zoomers to actually go to work. But for various holidays, you just give an option of the most common main dishes for those holidays. So for Thanksgiving, it's basically, it's turkey or ham, right? Probably even millennials, yeah. Gotcha, your dinner plans for real. Oh, man. I got avocado toast for the 4th time this week. This sucked. I don't even like avocado. And like, these are just 3 examples. Like, we could add other holidays for different religions and belief systems and yada yada whatnot. Now, here's the big thing. The delivery network. Well, here's one of the big things. The delivery network, right? So the delivery network, fuck going door to door and delivering to everybody. The only people that you would deliver to their door, as menus are at the mercy of someone government, in turn, the setting the distribution schedule, your pull, the SSR mac and cheese, because the guy who set the list order was autistic. Going door to door is prohibitively expensive. You cannot do that. It's just not, it's not feasible. It's not going to work. So that's not to say that it never happens, but you have to have like a ironclad reason why you can't go to one of the major pickup sites. Medical issues, just too far from any of them, you know, because people live out in the middle of fucking nowhere sometimes, and those people can also be broke as fuck and need assistance. So, you know, if you can prove that you legitimately cannot get to the pickup site, then you can get it delivered to your door. Otherwise, the default is it gets sent. Rest is distribution center. Yeah. Food Fantasy or something. I don't know. I don't play gacha games. Now, the 3 areas: libraries, schools, churches, and food pantries. I would like to focus, I would love for this to focus more on libraries than schools or churches. I understand that currently, logistically, that would just not be possible, but I really, really want, my ideal would be 100% library pickup sites. And the reason for that is because libraries are entirely free and they give a ton of benefits, very specifically for the people that are on welfare programs. Free Wi-Fi, a ton of different classes, basically infinite information that you can gain. Like, people that are really, really struggling, not fucking like the quote-unquote welfare queens that are just gaming the system. I'm talking about the actual people that need this shit. The actual, like, we cannot actually afford food. I cannot actually pay for both rent and food this month. Those people. Libraries are such a huge asset. I use them. I don't as much anymore. That sort of stuff as disabilities, because the system goes broke immediately. Yeah, like, yes, 100%. Like, it's got to be like, I have social anxiety. Get over it. Sorry, get over it. I have ADHD. Don't care. That's not a disability. Don't care. I'm 80% autistic. I took an online test once. I got a full-time job. I stream consistently. Well, you know, when I wake up on time. I almost overslept again today. I woke up at 6:01. Like, oh, shit, I gotta get online. What was I saying? I lost track. Libraries. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I'm just gonna go back to libraries in general. Library. Oh, I was saying that I used them. I used libraries when I first moved into this trailer. I did not have, like, they have printers that you could use. If you need a printer, they have resume courses and resume help at times. They have like job courses and shit like that. Like, the libraries offer so much shit that nobody fucking knows about. They're I legitimately consider like public libraries to be the single most underutilized free service on the planet, and it kind of pisses me off. So, and considering the fact that this is going to be a government run program, there's going to be fucking delays. It's going to take forever to get your box when you get there, right? I figure like probably 20 minutes between you get there and you get your shit. So that's 20 minutes that you can learn what the fuck a library does for you. That's sad, but it happens here too. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It's like, people just don't think about libraries anymore. I didn't for years and years and years and years and years. And then I moved down here. It's like, I need to print something out. I can't even remember what the fuck it was. I think it was something, it might have been a resume or something. I don't remember. I was like, I need to print something out. I don't have a printer that works. Help. Right. Pretty much. Hi, kitten. Hello, Shelby. The baby girl. We have a relatively rare Shelby appearance. Hooray. But yeah, I went up to my local library. I got a library card that day, by the way, free. And was able to get on their computers, print out the things that I needed, and go on with my life, right? I think that libraries are like a huge part of this. It's like a subtle part, but it is a big part of this program, is the fact that it is utilizing libraries as one of the pickup points. One thing that actually is not on here that is part of the base box to help avoid malnutrition, because a lot of people say poor people, it's hard to eat healthy if you're poor. Excuse me. And as somebody who eats way too much processed food, I feel that. For every household, you have to report how many people are in the household, right? Like, that's already part of SNAP. You would report their ages, right? Because, like, you know, you want to, like, if they're under 18 or over 65, you want to get these benefits. But also, you would add onto here bottles of age-appropriate multivitamins to help combat malnutrition. So that would actually be part of the base box, not anything that you would order. Nothing to do with the points. It would be part, like, rice, beans, oil, age-appropriate multivitamins for each person in the household to help combat malnutrition. I completely forgot about that until just now. So yeah, this is kind of what reminded me, because base plus multis. So this is the current cost per year is $96 billion for SNAP. The estimated total cost of this revamp is $32 billion. That's a pretty hefty savings, you might say. Now, obviously, that's like a month-to-month thing. That's not a initial cost thing, because you would obviously need to add various things to each library, because libraries right now, surprisingly enough, not outfitted to store food. Crazy, I know. So you would need to put in like refrigeration, freezing, maybe into libraries, or maybe just have like a refrigerated truck or something. I don't know. I don't know how exactly you would do that. I'm not entirely sure which would be the most cost efficient way to do that. It would probably be refrigerated trucks at first, and then as time progresses, you would upgrade the library's infrastructure to be able to incorporate those coolers and freezers as necessary. Schools would have less of an issue with this because school cafeterias already have pretty extensive freezer and refrigerator systems. However, you would need to increase their size to be able to take in all of this extra food. But at least there's something there already. Most churches and pantries, they don't really usually carry, as far as I know, I don't think that churches or food pantries usually carry perishables. So they would not have the stuff for this. So this would be, most of the items are shelf stable and the rest could actually just be taken off of the delivery trucks that supply grocery stores as they are refrigerated, as long as pickup is within scheduled hours. Yeah, it's just like, it depends on how often you're doing this. Because right now it's kind of being assumed to be monthly pickups. And with monthly pickups, just like having a 3 or 4 day span where you have a refrigerated trucks, not that expensive. You can get them for free if a doctor from Social Security prescribed. Really? That's interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, I guess the problem with the trucks, you wouldn't just be able to have this stuff on pallets in the trucks. You would have to have them somewhat organized and on shelves that you could pick through to find the boxes that are for each person, right? Because it's not just a, you get this box and you also get this box and you also get this box, because they're all the same. Since they are customized orders, basically, you would need to be able to get to all of them, right? For refrigerated, non-frozen items, because a lot of those would only stay fresh for under a week. That's true. So maybe it would be like a weekly delivery thing. That would probably be the biggest hurdle, is just figuring out how to handle delivery itself. But I mean, like, even if you're doing weekly deliveries to each of these areas, you're still going to be saving a fuck ton of money over what we have right now. Standardized pickup, you can just have them be like 2 boxes of beef and then check off against their account. They had a special order the item points, then it would be harder. But even if it's from a small list of standardized core items, it wouldn't be that hard. That's true. That's true. Instead of having like a box that's per household, you just order the stuff and then you just have them. You just have somebody basically hand out the stuff as somebody comes up. Like, they come up, they show you their order, and then yeah, that could work. That could work. That's part of why I wanted to talk about this on stream, is to have people that aren't me look at this, because like basically I'm the only person that's actually laid eyes on this thus far. So I'm coming at it from one point of view, and I'm not going to catch everything that could be an issue, right? Scheduled pickup times, they could have the stuff ready for a scheduled pickup time, much like with grocery store online orders. That's true. You basically just have like today for 2 boxes of rice, 1 box of beef, 2 gallons of milk. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that could work. Just core nutrition stuff. You're not talking about 10,000 different items or brands. Yeah, it's gonna be like ground beef, chicken, apples, carrots, like various veggie. It's gonna be ingredients. It's not gonna be, I want Kraft mac and cheese. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be, if you want mac and cheese, you're gonna have to buy macaroni noodles and the ingredients to make mac and cheese. Suppliers can bid for the contract just per normal government operation. Yeah, and then you know you're working with who spends. Yeah. Words. So is General Mills or Kellogg providing the cereal this year? Yeah. It's like, no, it's great value brand. Everything's great value brand. Get fucked, everybody. Walmart runs the government food. Do the bidding for contract. Yeah. I gotcha. Basically do already though. Yeah. Look, I like great value stuff. I actually eat more great value food than basically anything else. It's not bad. Actually really good. So these are the estimated outcomes. By the way, this isn't everything. I'm going to be going over a couple of other things as well here shortly. So, fraud right now 10.5 billion. So, of the 90, that's basically 10%. Poor people I know buy their groceries at Walmart. I never went to Walmart to buy food until I started dating a girl that grew up in a trailer. Yeah. Surprisingly enough, I know this shocks everybody, but as somebody who works at Walmart, I buy almost exclusively from Walmart. Primarily because I get a discount because I work there. I know it's crazy. So as of right now, the estimated fraud is over 10%. So for every dollar spent, like 11 cents is fraud. Changing that from, well, wait, is that actually a higher percentage? Do the Cocoa Dino Bites still exist? It's been a while since my last time at the USA. Yes, I do. I know that specifically because I off-brand Pebbles, kind of, yeah, pretty much. Let's see. 10.5 divided by 96 is basically 11%. I was right on the money. So 0.8 divided by 30. Divided by 32 is 2%. Okay, so we go from 11% to 2%. So we cut the fraud by 75%, give or take. Like in a per capita thing, like not per capita, but like percentage based, but even still, like going from 10% or 10 billion to less than 1 is really nice. Really high take up, that stays the same. Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles were the name brand cereal with the characters and the Flintstones in the box, but the super, yeah. Employment 70%, that's an estimate. Employment would be incentivized in this new program instead of penalized. So you would actually have more people working with this one. Nutrition right now, it's basically just, we wish for you to be fat as fuck, so just go and buy sodas and all of the shitty, crappy, what is SNAP? SNAP is food stamps. Also, hello, Matt. SNAP is food stamps. I have solved food stamps. Whereas with the new one, where it's basically you order ingredients and then you take the ingredients home and you cook them, you also get free multivitamins. It is far better for nutrition. PR, obviously, SNAP PR and food stamps PR is garbage right now. It's absolutely trash right now. Whereas with the new program, I think that it would actually be beneficial. The PR for this new program that I've developed would be far better, far better than anything that it is right now. Now, other benefits so the funny thing is that condense the new plan down to an easily digestible set of charts, graphics, and tables. So we got no graphics, we got a couple of decent tables, no charts, and it didn't even add everything that we actually talked about. So this is like the basics of it, but there are other things as well. You wanted this to be a thing. Who do you have to present the idea to? I would have to bureaucracy. I would probably have to start talking to actual politicians, like not just like I'm emailing my congressman, like, because they don't fucking read that shit. Become a politician. I'm not even gonna lie, the thought has crossed my mind. Like, the thought has crossed my mind as I get more into watching politics and learning about the political quagmire that is Washington, D.C. The more I get if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself fucking mindset, which I get every time I join every time I've ever gone into a job. I've always started with that mindset, and then I realize there's literally nothing I can do unless I work for 80 fucking years and climb this ladder. Nobody has any fucking authority until you get to the very fucking top. And then at that point, you're so far removed from reality that you forget what you started doing this for. People who insist to me that their congressman is working really hard to get them unblacklisted from the job they're fired from, for real. This, oh my god. So, a couple of other things. For these points, there are other ways to get them. So, for example, say 4th of July is coming up. You want to have a big ass barbecue for your neighborhood. Not just you and your family. You want to get like all of your neighbors together. You want to have like a 7-household barbecue. People assume I have authority, and then I remind them that I can't give them the thing that they're asking for without approval from the head of my office. Yeah. Nobody has any actual authority. Nobody has any actual authority. Once you get to 5+ households that agree, we are going to order the exact same thing this month. You can set up a group order or a bulk order. Every bulk order, -1 point on every item ordered for 5+ households. So everybody, because bulk ordering is cheaper, if you order in bulk, you get a discount. Bulk is 5+ households. This would encourage people to work together. This would encourage people to, let me look at where exactly. Oh yeah, this I asked, okay, so what would happen if we did this for everybody? It went from 36 billion to 800 billion a year. It's like, oh, okay, that's not happening. Here we go. So I asked Grok. Bulk order thing is probably not going to mesh well with the distribution center ideas that everything is already going to be bulk orders. So here's the thing for that. That would be less. It would mainly just be a thing to incentivize the building of community between the various households. Because, like, here's something. I don't know any of my neighbors. I could not tell you the name of a single person that lives on my street. Not one. I don't know any of my neighbors. I never speak to any of my neighbors. There is zero sense of community, at least with me. Now, part of that is because I sleep during the day and I'm up all night. But part of that is also, there's no reason for me to. There's no sense of community. There's no sense of trust. I don't trust any of the people that I live around because I don't know them. So that aspect, it might cost the government slightly more, but it's primarily there to incentivize the building of community. Doing delivery for people in that same neighborhood, that would probably work. Get enough people together to organize a pickup day on their street, and you'll get them all coming out. Maybe. Bulk orders, you get a discount and you get free delivery to your neighborhood. Maybe. But so this is something I asked Grok, what other adjustments would you recommend? This is what he came up with. Seasonal point boost. This was then adjusted into the choice of, you know, 2 of the whatever is the most common main dish, right? We talked about that earlier. You know, for Thanksgiving, it's do you want turkey or ham? For Christmas, it's do you want ham or roast? For Easter, it's do you want ham or lamb? I think it came up with. Gamification too seriously. I mean, like so the point system is a really good way to customize this stuff, right? Like that's kind of the point of the point system, is that it allows a lot of flexibility with this. So a couple of them I just disagree with entirely. I don't think that we should have anything for pregnancy lactation because there's an entirely separate system for that, right? WIC, WIC, is specifically for pregnant women, women with and parents with children under 5, right? So pregnant women and parents with children under 5. So we already have that. So I was like, no, this is not necessary. There's already a program. If you need that, you could also get on WIC. Rural premium waiver, we talked about this earlier. This would be one of the exceptions to the pickup site, right? If you live out, you know, yeah, like this thing says, if 15 miles away from any of the pickup sites, that's fair, right? Here's another one. I did forget about this. App or website only ordering. So you're not calling anybody, so we don't have to have a big ass call center to take in orders. It's all over the app that would hypothetically be developed for this program, or the website. And like, let's be real, the number of people that are tech illiterate to the point where they can't download an app on their phone is vanishing very, very quickly. There's almost nobody left. And as time goes on, that number is going to decrease drastically, right? It will hit 0 eventually. And yeah, like digital literacy credit for people that don't know how to do this. And like, even if you, it's literally just a one-time extra point if you take this class to show you how the app works and all that stuff to be able to better use it. Bulk co-op, that's the one that we just talked about. Waste to fertilizer program. So this is one that I'm not 100% on board with. Like, I actually asked it later on. It's like, what the fuck do you mean return spoiled for 1 point of credit? How do you quantify this, right? Like, how do you quantify? Oh, well, they returned stuff, right? And what I ended up coming up with is, if we were to implement this aspect, it would basically be like per pound of spoiled material, maybe. Yeah, but then, like, how do you track that? How do you track that? Do you hand a pound of stuff to the person who's handing you the fresh food? No. I do not want somebody who's handling fresh food to also be handling rotten food and compost. So the obvious thing would be, there's a bin, right? There's a bin at all the pickup locations. You could drop off your compost there. How do you then quantify, well, who's returning what and how much are they returning? So the best that I came up with is you don't. Because if you're doing this with unmanned bins, like just a big ass recycling, like a thing, you pop open the door, you throw your shit in, you close it. They beep boop and put it in on your account. But see, then you have electronics that need to be maintained. You have potentially a scale that needs to be maintained in case it breaks. A screen that could be broken and needs to be dealt with. You know, somebody gets frustrated and they're just having a bad day. They punch the screen's broken. You gotta fucking fix, you know, like, so the best thing that I was like, it's like, okay, you've ever gone to a recycling center? They do all this stuff constantly on a daily basis. Do that? I've never been to a recycling center. But a very simple way to do it is, whenever the bin is filled, everybody that picks up at that location gets an extra point. Everybody gets an extra point as soon as the bin is filled with legitimate compost. This would make it so that you're not limiting the amount of... So this would actually be one of the few things that would allow people that aren't on the program to influence the program. That you need to confirm legitimate compost. Yeah, I know, that's like the one thing. It's like, that would be the fraud aspect of this particular aspect of the program, is legitimate compost. Because, like, you have to design all of this stuff expecting people to try to defraud it, right? Bring in all my yard waste and get a free chicken. Can yard waste be used as compost? I actually don't know. I would assume so. I've never fucked with compost, so I don't actually know. Yard waste is automatically compost. I guess that makes sense. So maybe it's not unmanned. Maybe it is, whenever you go to pick up your new stuff, you bring any waste. And there's basically, you come up, you give your waste to one guy, you walk over, there's a second person, you get your food from them, and then you go. Kind of a thing. That way you don't have the cross-contamination issue that I was talking about before. That could work. That could work. And then it would be put on your account for your next order. Obviously not the one that you're doing right now, but the next one. This was stupid. Moving on from the waste of fertilizer. I think that that's probably the best way to do it, is to just have it be an in-person thing. Yeah. This was dumb. It was trying to put in an in-app AI recipe book, and I'm like, why fucking have a AI for a recipe book? That's dumb as hell. Just have a recipe book. Have like 50 recipes, like have like, you know, have like a filterable recipe book. It's like, okay, I have these ingredients that I ordered. What are the recipes that you have available that includes these ingredients, that uses these ingredients? What do we got, right? So, like, this isn't going to monetarily help anything or anything like that. It's just, you know, helps people learn different cuisines and learn different ways to cook and all that stuff, which is always a good idea. It's always good to have more people learning how to cook different things, broadening their horizons. Just a quality of life thing, right? Employer tax credit. So we already have incentives for the people themselves to work, right? They get extra points to use on food as they work. Incentivizing employers. So like this is basically like already there's an incentive for employers to hire like convicts, like former prisoners. Doing that for SNAP, like I don't want to equate SNAP beneficiaries to convicts, but we already have one for convicts. And what I learned while looking through this is like it actually is kind of hard for some people that are on SNAP to get a job. So incentivizing employers to take the risk of employing somebody who is on SNAP, whatever the risk may be, like maybe they, you know, get on, like they get hired and quit really quickly, or they, who the fuck knows, right? Whatever reason that they are in the situation that they are in, let's get them back in the job world. We want them to be working. We don't want them to be on SNAP. So incentivizing employers to employ these people is good. So doing this, it's not going to break the bank. It's going to incentivize employers to work with these people. There we go. Sunset clause. This is basically just a get out of jail free card. If for whatever reason this is attempted and it fails on a certain number of metrics, this is just like a legal thing, you know, legally. Okay, we tried it, it didn't fucking work, so we're going to roll it back to what it was before, even though I doubt very seriously that this would be necessary. And then this says exit ramp bonus. I would just say this would be a lifetime, like a lifetime milestone bonus. These are things that only happen once, right? You only graduate high school or get a GED once. You only, well, I mean, I guess you could technically get 1 billion associate's degrees, but like for when you graduate high school, your household gets, or you get a GED. GED. You graduate high school or get a GED? Congratulations. I don't know if we do 50. That seems like a fucking lot, right? That's 5 months worth of the base points. maybe like 20, right? I think that 50 might be a bit much. But the first time you get an associate's degree, the first time you get a licensing certificate, right? Like, I am now a licensed electrician, stuff like that. You get a bonus of points from the system. Just to incentivize, you know, continuing education, learning a trade, any of these things. There would have to be some kind of accreditation to ensure that you're not getting like I got a degree in underwater chicken tickling. Like, fuck that. If your degree is only useful because you can then go and teach that degree to somebody else, that's not a useful degree. Fuck you, you don't get a bonus for it. Looking at you, women's studies degrees, fuck you. So that's kind of where we're at. What about earning a scholarship for good grades? If you mentioned that already, ignore the previous comment. Well, I mean, like, scholarships, I mean, that in and of itself is already the reward, right? Like, the scholarship is the reward for the good grades. Let me check something real quick. Does the A+ scholarship program still exist? Question mark. Oh, it's literally just Missouri that does this. Wait, what? Is it really just Missouri? There's no way. How many states have the A+ scholarship program or something? Question mark. Specific merit-based initiative in Missouri that funds tuition for eligible high school graduates. Oh shit, I did not realize that it was Missouri only. I thought it was a national thing. Okay, so, well, let me explain what the A+ scholarship is. So the A+ scholarship, it is a relatively easy scholarship to get, actually. It is, you need, fuck, let me try to remember all of the different requirements. There's not that many. I think the strictest one is like you need a 95% attendance average, I think. Okay. What are the requirements to qualify for the scholarship? Question mark. 3. Okay. Attending a designated A+ high school for at least 3 consecutive years prior to graduation. 2 years for students entering after 9th grade in certain cases. Okay. Graduate with a cumulated unweighted GPA of 2.5 or higher. A 2.5 GPA. That's not hard. That's like a C+ average. Maintain at least a 95% attendance over the 4 years of high school, cumulative. That is probably the strictest. Good citizenship. Demonstrate good citizenship. Avoid unlawful use of drugs or alcohol. Violations of school policy that will result in out-of-school suspension. So as long as you're not a shithead, that's fairly easy to do. You need to have 50 hours of unpaid tutoring or mentoring of other students supervised by school staff. Me personally, what I did is I went to the elementary school by my house that I lived at the time. And I basically helped a teacher who was working with students who had English as a second language. And I basically read them stories. It was like really easy. It like I would barely, I would consider that more mentoring than tutoring. I didn't really teach them that much. I basically just like read them stories, answered questions if they had questions, and basically just looked after them. Just made sure that the little gremlins didn't hurt themselves. And then you need to, so it's mentoring, tutoring. Oh, here, I could just like drag this down here. So math proficiency, score of proficient or advanced on the algebra 1. Algebra 1. This is freshman high school level algebra. As long as you are proficient or better on algebra 1, you're good. Yeah, you can also take algebra 1 in middle school. Like this is not a high bar. College entrance exam, ACT's composite score of 17 or higher, SAT score of 900 or higher. Also not that hard of a qualifier. And then you have to just fill out the FAFSA. And then you need to have 12 credit hours per semester. Missouri Community College. Obviously, this would hypothetically be expanded nationwide. I honestly think that it should. This was a really good program. Maintain a 2.5 GPA. Use a scholarship within 4 years of high school. What does it cover? Tuition and general fees. Books, supplies, and room and board are not covered. So all of your tuition is covered. I do believe it's only for 2 years. If I remember correctly, it's only for 2 years. So this incentivizes people to go to not expensive as fuck universities just out of high school. Incentivizes people to go to community colleges, which, by the way, are just as good if you're just getting like your basic college classes finished. There's not going to be that much difference between fucking English Lit 101 class in a community college versus fucking Harvard. They're basically going to be covering the same shit. So yeah, I think that this is one of the best programs. I thought that this was nationwide. I did not realize this was a Missouri specific program. I think that this should be nationwide. Wait. I can't believe it's Missouri only. And like, as I mentioned, these are not high standards. Except for the only one is the attendance. That's the only one that's like a high standard. Is to make contacts with rich people. Yeah. And like, sure, if you want to go to Harvard or Yale to get your like bachelor's or master's degree, go for it. Absolutely no reason to go to a full ass university to get your associates. Zero fucking reason. Go to a community college. They're just as good. Like, I mean, like, look at what this does. Look at what this says. Show up to class, get a C+ or higher average. Help out some other kids for 50 hours. This is all 4 years of high school. Spend 50 hours in 4 years tutoring or mentoring other students. While supervised, obviously, while supervised. Be able to be proficient in freshman level algebra. Get a 17 or higher on the ACT or a 900. What is the average score on the SAT and ACT tests? Question mark. National average is 1029. National average is 19.5 for the ACT. So if you are below average, you can still hit both of these. Yeah, like these are like basic bare minimum requirements for free tuition for 2 years, as long as you go to a community college. Like, wait, note starting in September 2025, the science section becomes optional. What the fuck? Why? Is excluded from the composite score, but this hasn't significantly impacted the overall average yet. Well, yeah, because it hasn't been implemented yet, dumbass. Well, I guess it has been, but nobody's taken an ACT since September. Score of 20 is roughly at the 50th percentile, and 24 plus is considered strong for many colleges. Yo, Missouri's SAT average is, and ACT average is slightly higher than the, well, the ACT is, or the SAT is slightly lower, but the ACT is slightly higher. That's interesting. If a score is above these averages based on your target schools, yeah. Well, yeah, obviously you want to aim for higher than the average. I just wanted to see what the average was. So, how does this roll back into my SNAP program? It doesn't really. This was entirely a tangent. But I think, like, stuff like this, are there equivalent programs to the A+ in other states? Question mark. Sorry for that. Thanks for the explanation. Yeah, no problem. Last dollar tuition at community colleges up to 2 years full for low income partial merit. Merit for higher achievers covers vocational training. Wait. Let me look at these. So Florida, high school graduate in top 100% of, wait, what the fuck? 29 or SAT 1330. U.S. citizen resident covers 100% tuition and fees at eligible Florida public community colleges. That's like actually crazy. Like, look at the difference. Florida requires a 3.5 versus Missouri's 2.5. Requires a 29 versus the 17. Wait, was it 17? Yeah. By the way, I got a 29. I took the ACT twice. I got a 29 twice. I was so fucking mad. I was so mad because there was something called the Bright Flight Scholarship that I could have qualified for if I got a 30. I took it twice. I got a 29 twice. I was so fucking pissed. Like, I was one off 2 times. It's fine. just not good enough. High school graduate top 10, like top 100%. Like, what does that mean? Like, you exist. Like, that's such a weird thing. Like, in top 100%. Like, in this, like, top 10% makes sense. Top 100% is just you existed in high school. Anyway, top 10% or valedictorian Sally. Wait, these would. What? Wait, aren't the, like, valedictorian is you had the top score in your class. Salutatorian, I believe, is second place, right? So these would be at the top. Like, this, you don't need to be these to be this. This encompasses these, whatever. ACT 26, Georgia resident, covers 100% tuition at public community colleges. 3.0, 3.0. Can also apply to four-year schools. Oh, that would explain why this one is so much higher, because it also could be used for universities. Hathaway Scholarship. High school graduate, 3.8. Jesus. 25 plus. Wyoming resident, good attendance behavior. Up to 100% tuition at Wyoming Community Colleges, tiered by merit. Renewable with 2.5 college GPA. Okay. High school graduate, 3.0 GPA. Delaware, FAFSA required. Last dollar covers remaining tuition fees at Delaware Technical Community Colleges. High school graduate GED, 2.5 plus GPA, New Mexico, full tuition fees at public community colleges. Like, a lot of these are actually, like, a lot more strict. Interesting. But yeah, this A+ program, that's how I was able to get my associate's degree without having to take out any loans or anything. Like, I did end up having to pay 2 semesters out of pocket, I think. 1 or 2 semesters, because I swapped to my chemical technology degree like a year and a half in. So I ended up, and because of the way that the classes were scheduled for my chem tech degree, I did have to, I was basically like paying for, I was basically going to college for 1 to 2 classes at a time at the end. Because the chem tech program was like, you take chem tech 1 and 2 this semester, then the summer semester you take, no, spring semester you take chem tech 1, summer semester is chem tech 2, fall semester is chem tech 3 and 4, and then the next spring semester is 5 and 6. And I was like 1 year off, basically. That's why he said acids don't work like that at some Pathfinder. Yeah, like I am actually I have an associate's degree in chemical technology. I have fucked around with acids. I have burnt the fuck out of myself on acids. I have accidentally spilled concentrated hydrochloric acid on an open wound at one point. One of the most painful experiences of my life, by the way. Beaten out by my back injury when I hurt myself at UPS, and my kidney stone. I think those are the only other pains that beat out the spilling acid on an open wound. Because I worked at UPS at the same time. I actually had 2 jobs and I was going to college at one point. Because I worked in the lab at the college. I worked in the lab and I prepped up the materials needed for the lower level chemistry classes. So like, because I was in chem tech, I was like I was fairly high level in chemistry. So I'd be like prepping up the stuff needed for like the general chemistry 1 and 2 classes, and like organic chemistry 1 and 2 classes, stuff like that. So I did that, then went to class, then I went to work at UPS, where if I got out of there without paper cutting the fuck out of my hands, because, you know, you're slinging cardboard boxes all the time. When you're slinging cardboard boxes all the time, you're gonna cut the fuck out of your hands on the cardboard. Like, you're gonna get paper cuts all the time. So my hands were perpetually cut. And I had a really nasty one at one point. And I was clearing out a bunch of hydrochloric acid beakers. And I fumbled one. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I fumbled one at one point. And it spilled all over my hands and into a cut that I had gotten literally the night before. And it was just like, it hurts. Like, it was not pleasant. Would not recommend. Honestly. And then I didn't do anything with it because I was stupid when I graduated. All right, so that's A+. We can close that now. So back to this. All of that because we were talking about this right here. So that feel, yeah. It's like, oh, you got some lemon in your wound? Oh, that's cute. Actually, citrus acid is nothing to play with either. I'll be honest though, acids are actually like some of the least scary things that you deal with in a chemistry lab. Not gonna lie. In my ChemTech 2 class, this was second semester ChemTech. In my ChemTech 2 class, we were doing something called Carl Fisher titration. And what that is that basically tells you how much water is in something. It's primarily it's used in things like gasoline to try and see how much water is in gasoline. Now, the thing about that is the chemical that you use in that titration has a really fun side effect if you get it on your skin. If a guy gets it on their skin, it can potentially sterilize you permanently. Yay. Every guy in class fucking like a lot of us were fairly lax with the gloves when we were in the lab, when we were dealing with most of the chemicals. Not when we were fucking around with that stuff. We were like, nope, not taking that chance. Not fucking around with that. All right, so coming back to this though. If you were to look at this system that I have come up with, how would you break it? How would you defraud this system? Because we talked a little bit about that, primarily with the waste to fertilizer program. The biggest thing that I could think of is getting the food and then reselling it. Right? I feel like that's probably the biggest fraud potential here. I'm trying, like, at least easy, yeah. Like, obviously, there's still, because, like, one of the biggest aspects of fraud right now in Snap is what they're called, they call them ghost houses. It's basically where you have a house that's claiming to have, like, 10 people in it, and it's got, like, 1 or 2. So they gain, like, where is, let's scroll back down. So they're getting, like, this. Oh, wait, no. Okay, wait. How much in benefits does a Snap household of 10 currently get? Wait, no. Show a chart of how much in benefit money a household gets based on how many individuals live there. All right. Wait. No, 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 no. I mean in the current framework, not the revamp. So it's basically 10 times. A little bit less. It's like, well, no, it's like 600%. 6 to 700%. Set. Well, let's just calculator. Let's find out. 292 divided by 2196. I did that wrong. 7.5% times. Okay. So yeah, so they're getting, you know, 7.5 times as much money as they should if they're living alone. Slight, you know, cut that in half if they got a 2-person household. That's probably the best, like the easiest way to defraud this system is you get all that extra food and then you resell it, right? Claim that there's 10 people there. There's only 2. Oh, that's actually something that we haven't talked about yet. That is something that we haven't talked about yet. What happens if somebody does get caught defrauding this system? So the first time, it's a 3 strikes and you're out system. First time, based on severity. Based on severity. If you were to do this, you know, claim 10 people when there's only 2, you get caught. What happens? You get fined and you are banned from the program for a year. Second time, you get fined a lot more and you're banned from the program for 5 years. The third time, you go to prison. Also based on severity, the first 2 steps can be skipped if the fraud is bad enough. If there's like I don't even know how you'd have like a fraud ring of Snap. But like basically and that's actually a lot more lenient than the current fraud penalties are. It's like fines and prison right now, like immediately. But I think fines and banishment from the program is probably better. Oh yeah, that was this was me. I was trying to. Yeah, this was me trying to figure out the whole pregnancy thing. I was like, why are we talking about this? There's a whole program for that. And then it's just like, oh, well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of problems with WIC as well. I'm like, all right, that sounds like a different problem that I'm not talking about right now. Let's focus on what Snap is and not also fucking work. I don't even know what WIC stands for. Oh, women, infants, children. That's right. Women, infants, children. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we talked about this. I'm not... Yeah, I've kind of gone back on this. I don't really like having an unmin bin that people just dump their shit in. This was me getting clarification on the sunset clause that was built in. Because, like, up to this point, the only thing that I had seen about a sunset clause was what we saw earlier in that one chart, which was... this. Like, up to that point, when I asked for clarification, this is literally all I saw. I had no idea what the fuck they even meant by that. I wish I'd organized this better, so I'm not scrolling forever whenever I want to talk about something different. I meant to, but I got... I took edibles this weekend, and I became a useless person. Yeah, so this is a no. I don't even know why we're looking at that. That's no longer a thing. Yeah, that's still talking about that. Okay, so yeah, this is what the actual sunset clause that Grok suggested was. So if we fail, like if any of these metrics failed, it would be rolled back to the prior system. I don't think that we should be that strict. I think if we hit 2 out of these 4, and like obviously these numbers could also be tweaked, right? To be realistic. I don't know if any of these are actually realistic or not. I am still a baby political person. I don't really know a whole lot about the very like the specific numbers and all that shit. I don't know how much all this shit costs. I don't know. You know, is this actually likely to increase employment by 10%? Probably, because it actually incentivizes it instead of penalizes it, but you know, it is what it is. Here's a question. Should volunteer work be included here? It is still work, but it's unpaid, which doesn't really help people get out of the financial hole that they are currently in. Volunteer work... I don't think that it should. I don't think that this should reward volunteer work, per se. Not to say that volunteer work is bad, but we've talked about this in other contexts. It's the whole mask in an airplane thing. You know, airplane's going down, you put your mask on yourself before you put it on somebody else thing. I don't think that you should be spending your time doing volunteer work if you can't put food on the table yourself. I think if you can't put food on your table yourself, you should be working to get to the point where you can. Not volunteering for free. So I don't think that the program should reward volunteer. Yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted by the music. I love the Hades music, dude. Hades music is so fucking good. Even like this very slow, which I'm usually not a fan of. I'm usually not a fan of like super slow music, but I'm just I love these games. I love its music. I love Supergiant. Like, that is probably my favorite studio. The only one that would even the only one that would be in competition is Owlcat. Owlcat and Supergiant are my two favorite game studios. Anyway, the tangent again. This one completely unrelated to anything else. I don't think, like, I feel like if we were to possibly get this implemented at all, I don't think that it ever reverts to the way it is now. I don't think that it ever goes back to this. I think that the system that we have right now is probably the worst possible fucking one. Because, like, okay, so here's a question. What is it that everybody fucking tells you not to do if you see somebody begging on the side of the road? What do you not do if you see someone be begging on the side of the road? You do not give them cash. Do not give them money. Because if you give somebody who's begging on the side of the road cash, they are very highly likely to go spend it on drugs or alcohol. And I'm not just saying this to generalize. I actually drove. So this is back when I worked at UPS. Back when I worked at UPS, I don't know if I've ever even talked about this on stream. Back when I worked at UPS, I was very interested in one of my coworkers. She was very cute. We got along very well. And I had literally zero romantic experience whatsoever. I became a simp. For over a year, I became a simp. Possibly the worst. She was an addict. She was an addict. She lied to me about it. I knew that she was an addict, but she told me it was, it was like a prescription medication. She told me that she got hooked on a prescription medication. No, she was not sober. I can't remember which one. It was one of the, like, Xanax or whatever. Doesn't really matter what exactly she told me it was. I later found out that it was heroin. And it never was a prescription. So, like, the way that she told me it happened was she got hooked on this drug after being prescribed it. She took it for too long. She got hooked on it. She can't get off. She knew that she needed to go into rehab, but she couldn't afford to because her family partially relied on her income. So I was like, okay, I will help you with this until you can get to rehab. That was the whole thing. I literally paid for her drug habit for almost a year. And when my money ran out, as well as hers, she had me drive her to, I can't remember exactly where. It was an intersection or something. And she went begging at the intersection. I didn't. But she did. I just kind of, was hiding off to the side, basically. And she was begging not to go and get food. She was begging to get enough money to pay for her fix for the day. So I could say, with firsthand experience, that yes, you do not give beggars cash. Because they will just spend it on drugs. That's why the only time that I've ever given a beggar anything, this was a couple years back. I was going on a diet, and I had an entire fucking jar unopened of peanut butter that I had bought like a week before I decided to go on the diet. And the diet would not allow peanut butter. And for whatever reason, I just had it do the opposite to help. Yeah. I just had the peanut butter sitting in my car. I don't even remember why. And I was driving around. I was driving home, I think, on one evening. And I saw a guy out there, and he was begging. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll give him the peanut butter. Dude was incredibly grateful. But that's the only time that I've ever given somebody a beggar anything, because I don't carry stuff around to give to people. Like, I don't know, you want an old McDonald's bag? It's got nothing in it, but, you know, like, but I'm not going to give them money. And that's what we do as a nation. We give beggars cash. And you're like, no, it's a card and it can only be used for food items. Yeah. Until they sell that card or the money on it to somebody else for, you know, 50 cents on the dollar to get actual cash to go and buy whatever the fuck they want. Like, that's the biggest scam in EBT. Is people sell what's on the card for a smaller cut, yes, granted, of actual cash, but that is how a lot of EBT scams and fraud works. So I think just like pulling out of giving them, loading these cards up with money is the biggest cut to fraud. Doing that is probably the biggest thing that we could do to cut fraud. Food stamps because it kind of pays criminals, and yeah. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Isn't it awesome? Isn't it great? Another thing is, in this new one, we would have to have a lot more audits. A lot more audits. Random audits, not targeted, random audits. But in a 5-year period, like, you should audit. I believe you should audit 20% of everybody on welfare a year. 20%. That way, every 5 years, you have audited every single person on these, or had them newly applied and recently approved, right? Like, I know that that's going to cost a shit ton of money because that's a lot of work. But I feel like auditing 8 million. Okay, so if we audit 8 million people, calculator, 8,000 million divided by 52 weeks, right? 153,000 divided by, let's say, 5 days, because, you know, it's a government thing. They're not going to fucking work on the weekends. Divided by 5. That's 31,000 people per day audited. That's a lot. It's a lot of people being audited per day. That's actually a fucking ton of people being audited per day. Holy shit. That's a rough estimate, by the way. That's going off of like the 40 million number that people keep throwing around right now. Right. 40 million, if we're auditing once, you know, everybody once every 5 years, you cut that down to by 5. So that brings it down to 8 million per year. 31,000 per day. Okay. So what if we, oh, shit. All right. Well, 8 million divided by 52 divided by 7. Let's say they work every day of the week. 7 days a week. That's still 22,000 people a day. That's crazy. That's assuming somebody works every single day, all year, which we all know that also there's a lot of government holidays. Okay. Let's just ask. How many auditor would it take to audit every SNAP beneficiary once per 5 years? Question mark. Let's see what Grok says. We know roughly how many people it would take per day. Okay, so 8.4. Wait, what? Auditor capacity, full-time auditor, 250 audits per year, 5 per year per case, 50 cases per week, 5 weeks, 50 weeks per year. Who's doc review, interviews, verification. Full-time, 33,000, hybrid. Contractors outsourced 42,000. Why would there be temporary spikes? Wait, why would there be spikes in audits? Come on up. You gotta hop up, or did you just want a quick head pet? Okay. So that's total, right? So this would be 33 plus 6,700 plus 42,000. 82,300 employees. Come on up. Come on. Shelby. Yeah. Got a Shelby cat. So that would be 82,000 employees. I don't know why contractors. I don't get the contractors thing. Okay, let's. What would cause spikes in audits? This should be a consistent flow, right? Like a consistent. Let's just. What would cause spikes in audits? Why would this be? Why would there be? What? Fraud flags, AI red flags, income mismatch, ghost households. Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. Ghost households. High risk cases, 20 to 50%, 2 to 4 million extra per year. Policy change, new rules, e.g., work points. Disaster shutdown. Random sample. Whistleblower complaint. Net 33,000 auditors. Handle base. Spikes need 10 to 20k temps. AI pre-screen cuts 70%. Okay. How much would this cost per year? Question mark. It's 75,000 salary. Jesus, I would be an auditor. That's almost double what I make. Fucking hell. Stop it. For whatever fucking reason, Shelby absolutely loves trying to pull my mouse pad off of the desk. Like, if you notice my mouse moving a whole bunch while she's over there, while she's in the lab, shouldn't happen now because she's on the other side. But yeah, whenever she's over on this right, like that was me moving the mouse pad back. She absolutely loves just like rubbing up against the mouse pad and just pulling it off of the fucking desk. Net 0 to 2. So it would be somewhere. I mean, on the low end and the high, like if we match low end to high end, it would actually be a net 0, right? And it would just cut fraud, which is always good, right? You don't want fraud in your systems. Fraud is bad. We do not want fraud. It would end up costing per year the overwhelming majority of the time. But that's primarily because of these spikes, right? Like if you don't, if it, like if everything's running smoothly, wait. Is this, I don't like the reliance on AI. I guess it's not like actual, like it's just algorithms, right? Like that's basically what everything that says AI right now is just algorithms, right? Which I'm okay with algorithms flagging things that then need to be audited and checked. As long as there's no consequences until the audit actually happens. Right? It's kind of how I wish fucking like YouTube flagging and shit works. It's like, oh, well, there was a claim on your video, so fuck you until you prove that you didn't do anything wrong. Versus, you know, oh, there was a claim on your video. It will be checked. And then, you know, we will make a decision. Yeah, I feel like this is perfectly viable. Right? So of everything that I've shown so far, is there any questions? Is there any like, because I want to make, like, I think that this is pretty damn good. I legitimately think that this is like a workable program. Obviously, it's probably going to need tweaks. There's probably some logistical speed bumps that I am not aware of, considering my lack of in-depth knowledge in the field. But I feel like this is a good framework to at least build off of, right? Like, I feel like this is obviously better than what we have. It's more work, yes. It's a hell of a lot more work. But then again, you would be employing more people. Not a bad idea. That's not a bad thing to employ more people, right? Like you would need people to drive the trucks. You would need people to audit. We just talked about the audits. You would need people to deal with the point system. Like, right? We were talking about this earlier. And I kind of just like mentioned, it's like, yeah, there would be teams in every state that would check all of the different variables that could potentially raise or lower the cost of various items. Hi. What's up, buddy? You get jealous because your sister got some attention and now you want some too? Huh? Is that what happened here? Is that what happened here, buddy? Can't believe I've talked about this for almost 2 hours. That's insane. I was kind of thinking that I was not going to be able to talk this long about this. Like, yes, there have been a couple of tangents, but for the most part, we've stayed on topic, which is shocking to me. And even the tangents, most of those were relatively relevant to the conversation at hand. So yeah, you have like the logistical teams per state. You have the actual people on the ground driving the trucks, delivering the food, taking in the compost. You know, like each truck, you would want to have like two people in each truck. Those are high-paying jobs, right? Truck driving is a high-paying job. Hi. Claws. Ow, claws. Ow, God. Been a minute since we've had full-on shoulder cat time, huh? I'm distracted by cat. So something that I just thought of. Should there be consequences for people that act up while getting their food? Like people that just start acting like assholes. Should there be a consequence for that? Like, fucking behave yourself in line or you don't get any food this month. Like, maybe a point penalty for the next month? Those people should be punished everywhere? Yeah, but, like, the thing is, like, I'm trying to think about how to be fair about this so that we can punish them without, like, potentially punishing children. Right? Because, like, the kind of people that are gonna fucking act up in a line like that, they're also the kind of people that are, like, very self-centered, potentially narcissistic, and they're gonna make sure that they are taken care of at the expense of others, including potentially their own children. And this is in opposition to taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others, which is like the whole mask thing that we talked about earlier. There's a difference between taking care of yourself so that you can then take care of others versus taking care of yourself at the expense of others, right? One of those is a good thing to do. The other one is shitty. So how would you penalize somebody? Because, like, you want to penalize that kind of behavior because you don't want to incentivize that kind of behavior. And, like, the problem is that this is just food. It's food. Like, how do you penalize somebody on it? You fine them? I guess we could do fines. Like, a point deduction for the next month or just a strict, like, monetary fine, I think, is probably the way to go. And, like, I don't think that it also, I think it should probably be based on prior issues as well. Like, if it's just somebody's first time, like, oh man, this really got bad, right? Like, this person, you know, maybe they had like a really shitty day at work, you know, they had to wait for like 45 minutes. They're just really frustrated. They want to get home. They're hungry. And they snap out at the person setting out the food. I don't think that should be penalized as hard as somebody like obviously it should not be penalized as hard as somebody like throwing tables and shit like that, right? Obviously. That's why I think potentially a monetary fine is probably better than a point deduction. Because a point deduction can potentially cut into the food that goes to kids or other family members that are not responsible for, like, not, well, especially if they're kids, they're not responsible for their parents' actions and behavior, right? So they should not be punished for it. Whereas a monetary fine could also potentially like harm. I think it actually, in this scenario, I think a monetary fine is actually less likely to directly harm or even indirectly harm other people, then a point deduction. Hi, you coming back up? Yeah, buddy. Nice. I love you. So I think that's probably the best way to do this. I think that's probably the best way to do this. I need to make this more concise. This whole setup, this whole system. I definitely do. I definitely do. Anything else that I want to talk about for it? In those particular cases, yeah, it sounds better, and you can't be checking for every single case, so setting it as the default sounds correct. Yeah. Who would do it? Who would set the fine? Though, that's the thing. Who would set the fine? Obviously, there would be cameras recording at these sites for security reasons. And there would actually be a disincentive to steal, right? Because if you steal this, that you're literally stealing other people's food. And this isn't even, you're stealing, you know, from Walmart. You're stealing Walmart's food. You're stealing food that is directly there to feed specific people. It would be more akin to stealing out of somebody else's cart after they've already paid, as opposed to stealing just food from the shelf at Walmart. So strict theft would be, it would be like socially punished as much as legally punished. It's like people that would steal from these trucks would basically be, they should at least be socially ostracized for the act. I'm trying to think, what would the other, where are other failure points of this? Nailing this is probably the most important fucking thing in this whole thing. In this entire program, nailing the points is the most important thing. This is easily the most important thing. How many different... that's another question. How many different items should be on it? Should be available? The basic meats... beef, chicken, pork... I was about to say fish, but what fish? We just talking cod? We talking salmon? Shellfish? Like, how much of that should be on... Imagine going on a VPN to try and get foods that's not available in your area. It'd be funny. Except it would be based on your actual address, not your current location. So that wouldn't technically work. Like all of the basic fruits and veggies potentially, depending on seasonality, right? But once you get past that, like basic fruits, veggies, and meats, you have rice and beans already. Huge migration because of that. I mean, maybe that would be something that would actually like, maybe we move over to this area because we vastly, we vastly prefer these types of, I feel like meat is probably going to be the biggest difference. The types of meat available would be the biggest difference between the regions. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm very off base here. But I feel like that's probably going to be the biggest ones. Especially since meats are probably going to be the most expensive items on these point lists. You know what? Fuck it. Make a list of 100 items that should be on the app available to order. What points? Point cost not needed. This list. Food to the coast with lobster and carrots. I would not. I do not like shellfish. I don't like fish most of the time in general. I'm not a big seafood person. Ground beef, chicken breast, turkey ground, pork chops, bacon, sausage links, ham steak, salmon fillet, tuna canned, tilapia fillet, dozen of eggs, milk gallon, cheese cheddar block, yogurt plain. Oh, I didn't even think about yogurt. Butter stick, peanut butter jar, almonds bag, walnuts bag, sunflower seeds, rolled oats. What is this? Brown rice. I guess the basic rice would just be like white rice, right? So yeah, this would be a different kind. So yeah, okay. So quinoa, spaghetti, whole wheat bread, corn tortillas. Over flour tortillas? Why corn over flour tortillas at 25? That's weird. All-purpose flour, sugar, honey, olive oil, canola oil, vinegar, apple cider, soy sauce. You get to soy sauce before you get to apples. That's interesting. Apples, bananas, grapes, strawberry. Fruit! Veggies! Corn frozen, peas frozen, green beans canned, tomato sauce canned, kidney beans canned, dry lentils, canned chickpeas, cornmeal, baking powder, baking soda, yeast. Interesting. Is that list for? I just told Grok to grab 100 items that should be available for order on the app. Various spices. That's fine. I feel like spices should probably be like a half point each. Potentially. Coffee, tea bags, cocoa powder, chocolate chips, vanilla extract, maple syrup, grape jelly, mustard, ketchup, mayo, hot sauce, barbecue sauce, salad dressing, ranch. Me being the Midwesterner that I am, I'm like, yeah, they put ranch before any other salad dressing. Fuck all of you ranch haters. Cheerios, granola bar, wheat crackers, popcorn kernels, tortilla chips. We still don't have normal tortillas, by the way. We have corn tortillas, we have tortilla chips. No flour tortillas, which are, as far as I'm aware, flour tortillas are the default tortilla, right? Taco Man, you have taco in your name. Flour tortillas are the right ones. Corn? Really? I've literally only ever used flour tortillas. Literally ever. That's so weird to me. Okay. Pretzels, apple juice, orange juice, tomato juice, chicken broth, tomato soup, tuna salad kit, peanut butter crackers, fruit cup, baby carrot, celery sticks, cabbage head. Way after the Spanish got here, I mean, so it makes sense. But, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that flour tortilla isn't, like, the default now. Right? Like, just because it was developed later doesn't necessarily... Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just like... Maybe it's a Midwest thing that we use flour tortillas. Here in Mexico, it isn't. Well, you know what? Why corn tortillas and not flour ones? Question mark. We're listed because they're shelf stable, longer, cheaper in bulk, gluten free, wider appeal, and aligned with USD commodity. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Corn's better. Okay. I was expecting to be like, I flipped a digital coin and it came up tails, therefore corn tortillas. So like the one thing that I know about the difference between corn tortillas and flour is corn tortillas, you can't really make like the big tortillas. Like the big burrito tortillas you can't really do with corn. You have to do like smaller ones because they tend to not be as structurally, they don't have the same structural integrity of flour tortillas, basically. For lack of a better term for what I'm trying to get across. Search on that. E and L should not be next to each other in that way. Large, crispy, I'm not saying that word. Street food, sometimes called a Mexican pizza. Oh, Mexican pizza. But, like, you can't, like, roll it, right? Like, that's a Mexican pizza. Like, you... Huh. It is usually folded? Then it's not a pizza. How do you pronounce this?
Tlayudas.
Tlayudas? Okay.
Tlayudas.
Tlayudas. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Nobody says Mexican pizza here. That would be really funny. It'd be like saying American football in America. Yeah, that's fair, that's fair, that's fair. Okay, okay. Re-list the 100, but add point costs to each for Midwest and coastal regions. Let's see what it says. Right now, I'm just curious what Grok is going to say for this. Oh, I hate this layout. I hate this layout because it's not... Stop. 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 No, no, stop it. You do not get to listen to my voice. You do not get to listen to my voice. Okay, we're just going to edit this. Create a table that keeps things aligned neatly. Funny thing, these things usually contain queso, that word, in all of Mexico, but that word is called that way. What? What? What do you mean? What does that mean? Wait, is that it's like pronounced Oaxaca, right? Or something like that? We actually carry that at my Walmart in my area, actually. I hate them, by the way. The ones that we have at Walmart, I fucking hate them because they come in these lumpy little shitty balls and I'm expected to stack it like 3 high with these uneven lumpy pieces of shit. They're so annoying to deal with. I haven't tried them, but I hate them because of how they're such a pain in the ass to stock. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Really? Turkey went up by 2 over here. So a 3 swap on ground beef. Bacon is expensive as fuck. Holy shit. Holy fuck, these are expensive. I'm going off. I'm like going off of all this stuff. It's like, what would you get if you only had 10 points? Find some flour tortillas, put some of that cheese on them, cook them on a pan or something? Really? Interesting. I usually don't cook by tortillas. So I like well, like, I don't know. I just never do. So what would I buy? So the good thing is if I were just getting into... God damn, even these are 2 points each? Fucking hell. At least salt is cheap. Maple syrup is 6, 7. Funnily enough, I think bacon is the most expensive thing. Like, that's kind of crazy. Walnuts, 7 points, 6 points in Midwest. Peanut butter's equal. This is one of the only ones that I've seen that's equal. Oh, I guess canned tuna. Yeah, 8 points I think is the highest that we see here. Eight salmon. Well, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, everyone can order it. It's just, it's more expensive. Why is it so expensive, though? I was like, hello, Philemon. Hello. Ow. Damn. Saving the world? Hell yeah. Fixing welfare. Fixing, SNAP specifically. Food stamps. We're fixing food stamps. That's the word I was looking for, not welfare. Isn't bacon way easier to produce than salmon? Isn't there like entire salmon farms though? Got 2 bugs fixed in EU5 already? Hell yeah. Congrats. Alright, right now I'm looking to see if there's anything that's more expensive than 8 points. Is there anything that's higher than 8 points? Probably not. I don't think that anything outside of meats is going to be that expensive. Like, maple syrup is close. No. 8 points is the highest. So salmon and bacon are the most expensive things on this list. You doing math? No, so this is basically the new system that I've come up with is based entirely around a point system. And each food item is worth a certain number of points. These points are basically just like pulled out of the AI's ass. They're not based on anything really. I was just curious what points it would assign to each of these things. Oh, you were 40 minutes behind. Ah, that could cause issues, yeah. I don't even remember what the fuck I was doing 40 minutes ago. Oh, I was probably doing this, right? Like the how many auditors it would take. Okay. Can anybody think of a way to break this system? Can anybody figure out a way to break this system? How can you commit fraud in this system? You know what? This could be a decent way to get rid of some of the fucking American government's cheese vaults. What if we added a block of cheese to each monthly delivery in the base box? Right? How much cheese does the U.S. government have in its underground cheese vaults? Question mark. Would using that cheese for this program reduce costs at all? Or maybe add some of this cheese to the base kit to add some variety, some flavor. Question mark. There we go. It's another $1 billion saved. Yeah. Why not? Why the fuck not, right? Like, we have this stuff. The United States has this shit. Did she say correctly? Oaxaca is a city in Mexico. Is it? Oh, okay. Quesillo. Quesillo. Rest of Mexico calls it quesillo. Queso Oaxaca. People from Oaxaca really hate that. Oh, I mean. There's worse things to be known for than delicious cheese. Yeah. Okay, there's another improvement. We just add this cheese that we have over 1 billion pounds of sitting around not doing anything. We add that to the base of this. It makes it... Yeah, I see no downside to this. Like, it's literally just sitting around. Oh yeah, because it would help replace this, right? So it would actually cost less because we would be ordering less of the, like, yeah. So yeah, why buy extra cheese? Why buy cheddar? Like, wait, like maybe I'll use these swords for any cheese ordered until it is all used? Question mark. Sinaloa is famous for, even here is for the cartel. Yeah, that's fair. Like, is the stockpile there for anything else? I don't like this sentence. That sentence is gross. That sentence is disgusting. Is the stockpile there for any current reason? Yeah, like, just strictly, is the stockpile there for any given reason, any current reason? Active price stabilization and emergency buffer. Oh, it would literally not fucking change it at all if we did this. Okay, so yeah, we just use the thing that the government already pays for. Yeah, there we go. Fair enough. Yeah, we just use the fucking billions of pounds of cheese that we have sitting around in fucking underground vaults. By the way, if you want to learn about that, I would recommend checking out the Fat Electrician's video on it. It's really funny. Also, I just recommend checking out the Fat Electrician in general. He's really funny. Wait, is there anything else? Are there any other similar resources that could be drawn on? Question mark. He's an electrician like Electroboom. He does mostly history stuff. A lot of his Wait, really? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Obviously, we should worry about stockpiles first and then buy afterwards. As long as we're not pulling from, like, emergency rations. Recreate the top 10 drawables table. Include an annual how do they replenishment rate? Underground cheese bunkers, yes. Under 80, 80, 60, 50, 50, 40, 30, 30, 25, 20, 15, 15, 12, 10. So we actually would not. Oh, what the fuck? Wait. All of this stuff is basic, like, this is kind of girl math shit, but we're already buying this stuff. We are already buying this shit. And it's replenishing at the same or higher rate than what we're using. So all of this is free. This is literally just free money for this system. Look at that. 0.5, that's $1 billion right there. 1.2, 1.25, 1.28, 1.33, 1.35, $1.36 billion. That's $1.36 billion saved right here. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Love that term, girl math. Yeah. I think that's the first time I've literally ever used it in my life, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm happy about this. I kind of could have gone my entire life without saying those words. But yeah, like if we use the stores that we buy already, well, literally, I did the math. I literally could have just looked at this. I literally just could have looked at this down here. It already did the math. But yeah, would tapping these adversely would this be A effect or E effect? It would be this, right? Other programs. I'm just gonna be very vague here so that it can be as I want to catch as much in this particular net as possible. Skip selection. I don't care. Just give me an answer. What's happening? Regenerate. I don't like, for whatever reason, sometimes it does that where it just like gets stuck. No major harm, step draw, 10 to 20% of annual replenishment. What? 10 to 20%? TFAB schools get priority, stockpile grows, win-win. Literally just, this is just free shit. I like how now it's up to 1.4 billion. It was 1.36 a minute ago. I mean, even if we can't get to these numbers and we have to cut from this, it's still saving us money if we pull from these things. So yeah, we just have, we already have national food stores that grow at a greater rate than what we would be using here. It's not going to negatively affect anything else. Oh my god, speaking about clearing out old stock, here's something that happened at work last night, or I guess technically this morning. So, we had one day, months ago at this point, we had like 30 quesos of Pancho's white queso cheese dip come in. Now, for reference, I can fit I can fit about 6 cases on the shelf at a time. All right. So you would think 6 cases on the shelf at a time, we would go through about a case a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I would say no more than 2 cases a day. Right. No more than 2 cases a day. We went through this stuff. No less than 1. So you would think, oh, 1 to 2 cases a day. We got like 30 cases in. It's going to take less than a month to go through all that. That's not that bad. This would be true if we then stopped ordering more of it. We did not. What ended up happening was the vast majority of those 30 cases got put into what we call a bunker, which a bunker, if you've been to Walmart, you know those big fucking like center areas that's usually around the refrigerated shelves that are also refrigerated that they put excess stuff in. Like right now they're full of turkeys, they get full of hams before Christmas, you know, all that stuff. We call them bunkers. They basically are where we put what we call feature items. Feature items is just items that we have a lot of, basically. Or items that we're trying to push. So they put all the excess into a bunker, into a feature. And then they kept ordering more. And they kept ordering more. And they kept ordering more. Every day we would get 1 to 2 cases in. Because we sell 1 to 2 cases a day. That's why they have guns in Walmart? Yes. You go with the bunkers. You gotta have guns if you have bunkers, obviously. So here's the problem. When you keep ordering more of the item and you don't let it deplete when you have an excess like this, I had to throw out over 50 of them. Not cases. Individual like cups. You know, because they come in those little tubs. Here, let me... I was about to pull up a picture of it. It's a tub of fucking white queso dipping cheese. Like, you don't need a visual aid for that. Yeah, I had to throw away over 50 of them. Now, technically, they were still good for the next 3 days. They expire on the 8th. I hate Walmart sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Like I legitimately, like, I feel like this is just like an insanely, like, overall, I feel like this is just a better program. And it got better as we talked about it today. Like that, like the program is now better than it was when we started the stream. Because of the things that we talked about. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for helping me tweak this a bit. Because that's how kind of wasted food should the program consider that for reducing costs. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean wasted food? Are you talking about the food waste collections? Should the program do that for reducing costs? Oh yeah, it should. 100%. Oh, you're talking about the cheese at Walmart. Yeah, it should. It should consider that. It should take that into account. I get those things that otherwise you threw away. Like, honestly, what they should have done is they should have fucking cut the price on them. They should have put them on, like, a clearance sale 2 weeks ago to try and get rid of them all. But they didn't, because they're fucking stupid. The problem is... So here's the problem. Here's the problem. The ordering manager has 3 brain cells total in his fucking skull, and they have not connected with one another in about 15 years. There's a lot of non-activity going on in his empty fucking head. He does not know how to stop ordering shit. I hate that man. I hate that man so much. He makes my job so much more difficult for no fucking reason whatsoever. Holy shit, it's almost 9 o'clock. You know, so here's how I thought today was gonna go. I'm gonna be entirely honest. I thought I was gonna talk about this for like 30 to 45 minutes, run out of shit to talk about, and play like Hades 2 for the next 2 hours. I did not actually expect this conversation to go the full 3 fucking hours. That's crazy. But we have gone basically the full 3 hours. I think I am gonna call it though, because all this talk about food is making me very hungry, and and also talking about tortillas really makes me want to make a breakfast burrito. So I'm gonna go make a breakfast burrito. I'm just like, my brain just like flatlined on the idea, oh, breakfast burrito. All right, so no stream tomorrow as always. Friday and Saturday. We start Inevitable Excess in the Loader Woader playthrough. Gonna make some queso Oaxaca quesadillas. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that sounds good. I need to try some queso Oaxaca at some point. I need to buy some of that. I need to just bite the bullet and do that. Because I love me some queso. I love me some queso. But yeah, so Inevitable Access, Loader Woader, Friday and Saturday. Next Tuesday, Rhyhorn solo run next Tuesday. And next Wednesday, I have no fucking clue. We might talk more politics. I might try to condense this. I might try to condense this down into a better format to present. And we might go over this again next week. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. Wednesdays, I'm currently just kind of playing by ear because I have no fucking clue what I'm doing right now. I like that just yapping though. That was fun. Just talking, bullshitting around, going on tangents. I kind of want to get into like actually covering news on Wednesdays. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. But I'm terrified of YouTube slapping me with copyright every 2 seconds, because I'm not sure how that all works. And I know that YouTube is insanely copyright aggressive, we'll say. But yeah, like the stream if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We're currently trying to get to 500 YouTube subs. So that I can start making money off of y'all. No. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out and watching and helping to quite literally improve this potential replacement for Snap. I do like my plan for this. I do actually want to send this up the ladder and like pull this. I want to make this a thing that could potentially actually come to fruition, because I think that this is legitimately a very good plan. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you everybody for hanging out and watching. I appreciate y'all as always. And as always, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all have a good evening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye! And thanks for watching. If you would like to help support the channel, you can do so by following, subscribing, joining the Discord, or maybe even checking out the Patreon or Throne links down below.